When I was around, I want to say 6 years old, and that was when we went to go flying for the first time. So that affects me because it made me realize just how free it felt. Just like that liberating feeling of just being in the sky and soaring above the clouds. It gives that real free feeling, and that's kind of like stuck with me throughout. It kind of reminds me, hey, you got to get out there, be free, run free, be your own person. So that it kind of stuck with me a lot.
I think the only childhood experience I can think of that affected me as an adult was that working with my father in the bakery shop. It was a family-run business, and you learned that you had responsibility early and that you had to do quality work to keep customers, to survive. And I think I've always tried to do the best I can and to get along with others and to do the right thing. So I guess that'd be the experience I would think of.
Have an opportunity to be out in the country and just run wild out in the woods and play in mud puddles and just go from sun up to sundown, just be out in the woods with my cousins and brothers and sister. I think that has a whole lot to do with how I love the outdoors and nature now, and I have a big appreciation for that now.
Playing ball with a friend, having him break his arm, went into a little crooked down. He came over and he said, "Pull it." I couldn't do that. He ended up in the hospital, but I always want to help people now, but I know that there are some things that you just can't help people with. So it helped me learn that sometimes you just got to leave it alone.
I was in my first house, and I played in the front yard a lot, and I feel like that just helped me get to know the outside world because we lived in a smaller home, and I think it was just really important to where I am now because I was able to play with all my toys in the front yard and just kind of be happy, you know.
Probably playing the game all day. I used to just sit there all day and waste my money on the game, but you can't do that in life. You gotta save up and you gotta be active, stay healthy. I used to play Fortnite, Madden, 2K. I used to just play all of it.
When I think of my childhood, I think of me being in band, marching band. And so that's just that's where I had all of my, most of my friends that I still have now, I met them during that time. And so that's just what built me into me.
Playing video games with my older cousin because I have best friends with my older cousin, but he's 4 years older than me, so I could never keep up with him playing sports and anything else as a kid. But video games, I could be just as good as him, match him, and be better. And so that's made me love sort of those skills that I can excel out. And also just a lot of my friends are just older because I just connect more since I've always hung out with him and his friends. And so playing video games with older kids, learning to hang with them.
Probably just the interactions with my family and friends and my cousins. That is actually what led me to enlist in the military at 19 years old. I graduated high school, and 8 days later, I was on the plane for the first time ever shipping out. And I have a twin sister, and that was the first time I ever separated from her for more than 5 days.
Something that happened to me consistently throughout my life has been that I was dyslexic. And so I hated school and was not very good at school. So playing and being good at sports was something that I took very personally, and that's what got me through. So I think that my takeaway throughout my whole life has been playing and being able to do stuff, physically do stuff.
I guess the first one comes to mind is my great-grandmother always got me National Geographic magazines. So that's what sparked my interest in the world, the environment, bigger picture, what's going on, not just in your hometown, but other people and across the globe, and also animals. That's what inspired me as a child to be the person I am, to not just think about myself, but also bigger picture. Which goes back to your first question, why do you matter?
When I was younger, I'd say my parents divorced, but now, I don't know. I do a lot of fishing, camping, stuff like that. So, I started that when I was a kid. My dad kind of got me started on hunting and fishing, and I guess that stuck with me. I lived outdoors before, so I know what it's like to be in the winters and the heat and everything.
Probably growing up in the mountains and actually being able to go out in the woods and discover things and find the beauty in the little things and just living in that moment of being out in nature.
Well, I had both positive and negative, but I think one of the most significant in the positive category was travel. I'm an only child, and I was portable, so I got to go to a lot of places with my mom and my stepdad. We traveled to Haiti, to Europe, took road trips, and that really had such an influence. And just seeing how people live differently, how they relate to each other differently, how culture is formed, and that was a really very important influence.
When I was in middle school especially, me and the neighborhood kids would skateboard and go fishing and do all that stuff together every day after school. That affects me now because I like to do things. I like to stay busy and active and appreciate that time with others.
Participating in sports, I guess, kind of that realizing the need to exercise, early move daily if you can. Even I'm not like super fit or anything, but just walk or move or yard work, whatever. Yeah, did some sports in high school, and so just realizing it makes you feel good and improves your mental health, etc. So
the birth of my sibling. Because when my sibling was born, my life changed for the better, and I think that for me is the most significant impact. I was 3, so I am lucky enough where I haven't experienced any significant traumas or ups and downs in my lives, but the birth of my brother, changed my life for probably the most significant trajectory. Yeah, it's a relationship that I have, and then he eventually passed away, and so just the meaning that's had in my life throughout with his life and then his eventual passing.
I grew up in a small town in Southwest Virginia where everybody was concerned about everybody else. It was just general love among the different residents that were there, and I see a lack of that today with what's going on in the world today. Well, really what's going on in Israel and some of the other countries. In fact, I saw an interview or a recording from what's going on in Hamas and Israel where this young guy had called his dad and said, "Dad, I just killed 2 Israelites, a woman and her husband, and I'm talking to you on her phone." I could not believe that. I think that's absolutely terrible. It's unfortunate that things like that are going on in the world today.
We traveled a lot, we moved a lot, and so I got to experience a lot of places and a lot of people. So I think that definitely made me a different person than I would have been otherwise. Living in a house my whole childhood, going to the same school would not have been the same life.
All of them, anybody's childhood is in their how they become a human being, So it's all in fact how we today. So I can categorize it into 2 different influences. And then especially that first I'm going to talk a little bit about that bad influences, underdeveloped circumstances, not knowing things and no much experiences that causes a little bit disturbances emotionally and physically, like bad influenced friends or loss of loved ones, So during that season, I didn't have that much knowledge and understanding, about what's going well in my life, what's going bad in my life. But now, when I look back, that bad influences made me to realize things and then made me to understand better things. Right now, I can know it's good thing because of that experiences. So that good experiences is, of course, my family, and then how they take care of me, and then that makes me how I look like today, how I think today, and how I'm dream of now, and then all these things related to my family, parents. So that then patience and then good heart, consistency, all of those is from my parents. So my childhood, how they did. That's it.
Just to come in and see people that enjoy this right here, in which this tell me that we share the same common, the mindset to come and go outside and enjoy it instead of just sit at home and maybe watching TV, not feel motivated and go out, and this is perfect time.
I grew up on a farm, and so I learned a lot of hard work ethics, and also I learned responsibility and taking care of animals and other things like that. Right now I'm doing like a church service mission, so I go away from home for like a year and a half, and so I help people to learn more about Jesus Christ, but when I get home I will take care of animals again probably. I always love taking care of animals, so even if it's just a small farm, I'd love to do it.
Growing up in a large family, I'm one of 8. I was the third one. Good, hard-working, Southern. We grew up in the South, Mississippi, civil rights, and all that. Big part of our lives in the 60s, 50s, and 60s. It saddens me because I've seen the advancement of the black race, and now we're reverting back and becoming segregated again. I mean, they're doing it to themselves now. The white was playing for it back in the 50s and 60s, and now the blacks are segregating and having individual graduations in college universities, and they're undoing what was accomplished back in the 50s and 60s and all the suffering.
Figuring shit out on your own. I think that's been a big one. It's like as a child, like I think that like natural like separating process from like your parents and like coming into adulthood, and I think some maybe people experience it differently, but I think like that coming of age, separating, it's like, all right, you're not like still a child, not quite a man. I think just that process has been really defining for me. It still is, because just like that coming into independence has been really fortifying. We gotta learn from it. Resourcefulness, and it's just kind of like one of those things that's in the background. I guess it becomes part of your character, right? It's like not at the forefront of what you're doing, but it's like underlying in everything that you're doing. And I think that is a very important character trait that's not, whatever, you can't talk about it. I mean, you can, but it's kind of underlying everything that you're doing.